I'll get started, but if you guys have been paying attention to your agenda and paying attention to who's supposed to be up here, you may have noticed I am not Mohamed El Barachi. I am Liz McConomy. I'm the Director of Marketing at SweetIQ, and unfortunately, Mo got one of those meetings, the meetings that you can't say no to, got bumped to 10 a.m. today, so here I am. Lucky you guys, I know. Control your excitement. So I'm going to get started once my presentation loads up. So far, I'm not announcing the ASPE Awards. It's not my thing. Or Havas, but you know, everybody's great. We'll get there. I'm clicking through stuff. Just keep clicking. That's what I'm doing. All right, I could get started with my presentation without actually having it, so I'll do that. What I'm here to talk to you guys about today is the retail crisis. I think everybody here has seen the headlines. Everybody here has paid attention to the news. Everybody has heard actually that in 2017, there have been more closures of retail brands across the world. Oh, good. Okay, that's my quote. That's the beginning of my deck. Success. All right, hold on. Hi, I'm not Mo. Haha, great joke. We'll move on. Retail crisis. So I want to talk to you guys about this retail crisis because at SweetIQ, with all of the data that we've been collecting, because the data we collect is location-based data. We're a software platform that actually aggregates all of the enterprise-level brand citation data, reputation management data, keyword data, store locator software, and we aggregate all of it to create a comprehensive local marketing data set for you to pull from. And everything that we've been watching over the last 7 years that we've been in business has pretty much pointed to the fact that strategies have been built. Online strategies to drive customers online and offline strategies to drive customers offline, or even offline strategies to drive customers online. But we're not focusing on the brick and mortar problem, and we're not focusing on how to get people in store. Now, I say we, it's a general globalized we. It doesn't necessarily, some of you might be like, well, I am. Okay, great, good. Then you're the ones getting it right. This is good. 2017 has been the year of the crisis, and it's been the year that this retail crisis has been the media darling. But businesses have been struggling for a long time, and it just feels like 2017 is the year of reckoning, doesn't it? It feels like 2017 is the year the clock ran out. Ralph Lauren closed on Fifth Avenue, huge, Macy's, Sears, JCPenney, Toys R Us filing Chapter 11, or filing for protection. I'll start with that. We're watching these businesses struggle, and we're watching these legacy brands struggle that we never would have thought would be in a position that they're in now, while others are thriving. And they have brick and mortar presences, and they're still succeeding, and they're still doing exactly what they're supposed to be. So these brands are thriving while others are struggling. So how do we differentiate between what worked and what didn't, who did what, and who did it right? But the truth is, you'd be crazy to think this retail crisis showed up in 2017, and it hasn't been brewing for the last 2 decades. The late 90s, we were told every business needs to have a website. That was the digital transformation, right? Huge, huge, oh my God, scramble, get a website, figure it out. Most brands were saying, I don't need a website. People know me. They love me. I'll never need one. Fast forward to 2 years later, panic, panic, build a website. I used to have a slide that would actually walk you through kind of the history of innovation over the last 100 years. And when you looked at the history of innovation over the last 100 years, you would start in the 1900s, somebody invented a camera where you didn't have to sit for 4 hours to have your picture taken. But then it was 25, 40 years later that a new innovation happened in photography, and the Polaroid was invented. But think about the speed of innovation now with technology. It's not a one-step transition. You've got website, then it was search engines, then it was another search engine, then it was Amazon, then it was eBay, and then it was technology, and then it was Twitter, and then it was Facebook, and it was this, and it was this. I mean, the big gaps that you had in innovation in the early 1900s became completely condensed over the last 2 decades. This retail crisis has been brewing as technology has been advancing at a speed that brands haven't been able to keep up with. And they've been saddled. It's legacy brands, right? They're saddled with legacy KPIs, with processes, with systems that don't make it easy for them to transition into the digital space. So we need to be there to be able to ease them into it and help them through it. And those are the brands that have been struggling the most. Amazon was able to start from the ground up without any of those legacy systems weighing them down. And so the success that these new brands have seen is because they've been able to plug in immediately to the way consumers want to interact with other companies. So who do we blame it on? E-commerce killed brick and mortar. Mobile, instant gratification, data at your fingertips, it bred a fickle consumer. None more fickle than the millennial, right? They hate brands, they're too tech savvy, they're broke, stupid avocado toast. Those millennials, they don't know anything, right? And so all of these people were to blame. But the truth of it is, it's not one single factor that did it. It's all of them combined, and it's the ostrich factor. You put your head in the sand to what's going on, you're gonna end up missing out on what's passing you by. And so, how can we start working on it? What happened? Well, the truth is, the brands that turned around and said, my customers love me, and I know them, and I don't need to study about them. I know who they are. They're gonna watch my TV ad. They're gonna see my billboard. They're gonna read my article. They're gonna be super into it. And what happened? They were on Instagram. They went on Facebook. They started Googling. They went on Amazon. And they weren't having the same quality of experience offline as they were having online. And so that's where we get to the question, how do we fix it? How do we fix this? I think it's too late for some, and I think all of us are in agreement on that front, right? It's not always going to be the perfect ending for every brand, but how do we turn it around? So first and foremost, let's think about the consumer journey. So this is a 2009 McKinsey Group customer journey that was built out by them less than 10 years ago, and it's already irrelevant. It's not indicative of how it works. Sure, high level, right? Oh yeah, there's awareness, then you go into discovery, and then you make a choice, and then you do this, of course, you build some loyalty. There was this whole loyalty loop built into it. But the truth of it is, it doesn't look like that anymore. The customer journey isn't this. And I'm not here to talk to you guys about the customer journey the whole time, because I think we're all customer journeyed out as a marketing group, right? But this is the customer journey. It's not a straight line. It's not linear anymore. These customer journeys that we're on as consumers ourselves don't start and end with awareness and then this and then that. From personal experience, I'm a fan of Instagram, and so when my Instagram doesn't refresh anymore, I go into the things recommended for you, which is just a dark, deep abyss of weird random stuff that you can find on the internet, and I love it, full confession here. And I found a brand that I loved. I have this thing for all these like good luck charms and little tchotchkes and stuff, and it was this brand called Juju Supply in New York, and they have beautiful stuff, so if any of you are like, oh man, that sounds like me, yeah, Juju Supply, very cool, expensive, but very cool. And so there I was, I started following this brand I'd never heard of before, and when I was in New York last May, I Googled them to try and figure out where their actual brick and mortar location was so that I could go and buy it in person. Because I wanted to feel it, I wanted to get a sense of it, the whole thing. I could have bought online if I wanted to, but I wanted the tactile experience. And so my consumer journey started in the deep, dark, rabbit hole abyss of Instagram and ended with a Google My Business search. That's crazy. Consumers today are entering and exiting their customer journey in a way that none of us can actually actively predict and follow. We can do our best. I know, I work for a data platform. I can't sit here and tell you we can't use the data. Use the data. But nobody would have predicted that I would have ended up on that weird random page at like 2 a.m. when I couldn't sleep, found a necklace company that I liked, started following them, and then bought a necklace 6 months later. The best analogy that I've found so far, and there's a lot because as a company, we've been trying to come up with the best analogy for what the customer journey is, but it's a roundabout, right? You go in, you go for a bit, you leave, you do something else, the interest is still there, the need is still there. Obviously, there are some things that you need it, you go, you buy it, you leave. I mean, it's as simple as that. But that there are other things that you're considering, that you're thinking about, like I want a pair of noise-canceling headphones. I also don't want to spend $500 on said headphones. So I go in and out, and I bookmark, and I save, and I watch for sales, and I have my colleagues send me their discounted emails. I do all of these things because to me, this is the way that I'm going to shop. But I'm in and out of this customer journey. But what do we need to do to be able to try and track this customer who seems untrackable? We need to build a safety net. Because the truth of it is, you build a great story, you're everywhere you need to be. You're as creative as you want to be, you're motivating, you're connecting, your spots are working, your billboards are working, your print ads are working, all the traditional is working, your website's beautiful, your social is just off the charts. But are you capturing them at the moment of conversion? This is the real question. because you can connect as much as you want with your customer, and your brands can connect as much as they want at the creative level, at the messaging level, but if you're not there, catching them at the moment of conversion with real, tangible steps to be able to continue on, and not just e-com steps, but can they get found? Is their location data clean? If they look for you, will they find you? There's nothing more frustrating than looking somebody up and not finding them and knowing they exist. Then you start wondering whether you're spelling it right, and I mean, it's the gap, you know what I mean? It's 3 letters. So did I spell it right? Am I looking for the right one? Am I in the right town? Now I know there's no H&M in Des Moines, I found out this week, but so that's an upsetting local search that you would do. But the truth is if you're not catching them at the moment of conversion, that's where you're actually missing out on an opportunity to connect online searches to offline experiences. Because what you're looking to do is you're looking to take them online and bring them into your store. But what's going to bring them there? What's going to seduce them enough to get them into your store? Consumers are everywhere, right? We know this. Our customers are everywhere, and they don't see the difference between online, desktop, mobile, all of that. They see a brand experience. I talked about Omni-Channel. I mean, so I have a reaction to Omni-Channel because to me it's the new synergy, right? So it's the new cheesy buzzword, and like, you know, AI is creeping up on it, guys, I'm not gonna lie, but we have these buzzwords, but really Omni-Channel means all. Omni means all, and channel means channel. So you need to be everywhere your customers are. You need to be in all the places that they're looking for you. And what they want from you as a brand, and I know that I'm talking to agencies, I know that you guys are the ones talking to your brands, but this is the story that we need to be telling. This is the story that we need to be connecting with our customers on, which is if you're everywhere that they are, then it needs to be the same seamless, frictionless experience no matter where they're interacting with you. So I bought a couch from IKEA. It was a little slice of life. I was on vacation, I got a little ambitious, and I said, I'm gonna order the couch, it's gonna arrive when I'm back. I had this whole plan, I was super relaxed, I thought I was brilliant. I put the wrong date when I made the online purchase. It was gonna be delivered while I was still on vacation. Panic ensues. So there I am in Hawaii, and like, I know, I went to Hawaii, it was amazing. And I'm there on this beautiful, idyllic vacation on hold with customer service, having sent an email with a thing that didn't work. I'm livid. My husband's like, please don't ruin all of the work that this very expensive trip has done, and calm down. And I go, you know what, I'm just gonna tweet to them and see what happens. And I went on IKEA Canada, because I'm Canadian. And I went on IKEA Canada and I said, hey, help, I put the wrong date. And they were like, oh, okay. Within seconds, I'm still on hold, the music's still going. Oh, we're sorry, there will be somebody helping you soon. And they're DMing me directly in Twitter. What's your confirmation number? Don't worry, it's been changed. New email was sent with the revised order date. Everything was done, and I still hadn't spoken to a human. Now, this is something we can't fix for our clients, but this is something that consumers are expecting all the time. Seamless, frictionless experiences. If it is easy to shop in your store, okay, it's IKEA, so it's not easy to build your furniture, but if it is easy to shop in your store, is it easy for me to communicate with you, to contact you, to get the information I want? And I want it anytime I'm looking for it. It needs to be there, and it needs to be easy. So I talked about millennials and Generation Z. Now, I'm just outside the millennials. I'm whatever that weird cusp is between Gen X and millennials. I'm giving you guys a vague idea of my age right now, but that's all you get. But these millennials and Generation Z, everybody's saying millennials don't want to shop in store. They just want everything online. They're going to go on Amazon Prime. They want it to be immediate. They want to get this done. Okay, that's not true. They actually want to shop in store, but they want to be wowed by the experience that they have. So when we work with our brands to make sure that their search campaigns are strong, that their social presence is good, that they've got all of the great branding that they need to have, we need to be telling them on your end, you need to be connecting with experiences that actually resonate with your customers. So you want to talk about a brand that's getting that right? Let's talk about Starbucks. The unicorn is a big deal. I don't know if you guys knew this. I'm not a huge unicorn fan. I mean, I have nothing against them, don't judge me. But I don't get it, but it's okay. I'm a little bit out of that zeitgeist of unicorn fantasy and love. But I sat there in Starbucks one day, and I watched. This girl walked in with her mother, and she bought the unicorn Frappuccino. Her mother looked horrified because she basically just paid $8 for a cup of sugar. But her daughter was elated, excitement beyond excitement. And when she first got that cup in her hand, are you going to tell me that she immediately tasted it to see how delicious the Frappuccino was? Oh no, it was a photo shoot, right? She had her phone out, me with the Frap, just the Frap alone, the Frap on the side of the street with the buildings in the background. The sun was good that day. And all of these pictures of her with the Frap. Do you think she tagged Starbucks in any of it? Absolutely not. You just see that mermaid, that white and green mermaid, you know exactly who you're looking at. And so Starbucks created this unbelievably shareable, targeted moment that lasted 10 days to 2 weeks, and then it was gone. So it connected with what people liked, it connected with how people wanted to consume it, and it connected with their need and want to share it at every level. And so Starbucks nailed it. Starbucks nails it often, though. Pumpkin spice isn't available 365 days a year for a reason. It's so that pumpkin spice season shows up, and then you start seeing all the memes on Instagram about how, you know, leggings, Uggs, and PSLs are coming out again. That's okay. I'm not a big pumpkin spice fan, but I married one. He'd be so embarrassed that I told you guys that. But he gets pretty excited. So, I know, I'm looking at my colleagues. Don't tell him I said that. He'd kill me. Tough guy, he's a very tough guy. So, the truth of it is, Starbucks is nailing it because it's creating shareable, connected moments that make customers feel like they're part of a movement. And it's not just about that. Stocks rose 1.8% because of this. Not bad for a mythical creature, right? So how did they tie it to something practical? Because you can't do this stunt and not tie it back to something that's going to give you actual results, right? Sure, they made money off it, but Starbucks isn't at a loss for revenue right now. So how did they tie it to something practical? Well, everybody that ordered a Starbucks Frappuccino was given a Starbucks Gold card, was asked to become a member, was asked to sign up to their loyalty program, and so they were tying in this experience with building further brand loyalty. Another brand that got it right is Sephora. So Sephora, in certain locations, actually has a mirror screen that you can go and you can look, and then you try on all the different shades of makeup live, looking at the screen, then you can share this and ask your social network what they think. Personally, I'm aging myself because unicorns and this screen, but the truth is I go, there's little testers, and I put a little lipstick on, a little eyeshadow on, I figure out what works for me, and I call it a day. Knowing me, I would accidentally share it with LinkedIn instead of Facebook, and I'd ask all of you guys to tell me whether or not, you know, radical raspberry was my color. So I'm not going to do that. But it's hugely successful. And why is it successful? Because it's an online experience, online hype that's getting connected to a brick and mortar store. It's hugely successful because it's tying that online need to share everything with an actual, tangible, in-store physical experience. Another brand killing it. I mean, Nike does Nike need to do stunts? No. We just watched that really great ad, which P.S. I had goosebumps over the girls pinning the ponytails on the signs. But Nike, leveraging sneaker culture, leveraging what's happening. In LA, created a pop-up that looked like a Nike shoebox, and when you walked in, it was the history of the sneaker. Now, of course, you could buy any sneaker you wanted for a certain price, but how smart to keep your brand connected to the culture that it is the most known for. And so these are one of the things that people are creating and that we're seeing happen, and these are the guys that are succeeding. These are the guys that aren't in the headlines for 2017's retail crisis. These are the winning stories that are coming out of the 2017 retail crisis. And so when you're tying a customer experience to something that they love online and an experience that they want to have, that's how you're driving online dollars into in-store revenue. And then there are other brands. Not doing so good, right? Look at the door, the technology store. I don't think I've thought of Radio Shack as the technology store in however long it's been since I've thought about Radio Shack. But Radio Shack didn't connect, right? They didn't turn around and say like, ooh, well, tech seems to be really developing. So I gotta go and like get on top of this trend and start seeing what I can do, connecting to the tech that's out there. No, to them, I mean, I went into a Radio Shack a month ago, I was out of town, I'd forgotten a charging cord, and I saw a Radio Shack and I thought, okay, maybe they have a plug or a converter or whatever, but nothing. I could have bought like 15 irons and a hairdryer, but not anything technologically connected in sight. So, adios, Radio Shack. So let's take a look at this new consumer. This is Taylor. So Taylor has her network. She has all of her blogs and all of her networks and all of her, you know, her news sites that she follows, and they know her now, right? So obviously the huge contention about how do you filter the news that gets sent to you, but they know her now. And they know that Taylor is fair-skinned with short hair, interested in cosmetics, and so they push articles for Taylor to Taylor. We know that this is happening. I just realized Taylor and tailoring the content, not on purpose, but maybe. And so she's reading an article about the celebrity secrets, LA celebrity secrets for makeup and skincare. And then what happens? The seed's been planted. She thinks, well, maybe I need that. I'm interested in skincare. As you guys can tell, I too am like Taylor, slightly fair-skinned. With a name like McConomy, I come from a pale people. And we have a tendency to age. We have a tendency to burn and have bad things happen to us more often. It's a burden, but we deal with it. So I would be looking at this, and I would be reading the articles, and I'm the first person to admit I have a lot of serums and creams and oils at my house that I don't know what to do with, but I was super into them when I bought them, and I've used this much of them, and they just sit there now collecting dust. So, and I know the men are like, oh God, but the women are like, yeah, me too. It's okay. We're all right, guys. But Taylor got tailored content. Taylor read a story that connected with her, and the seed was planted. Taylor suddenly needed to learn more about these products. And where did that lead her? That led her down the same rabbit hole I went down when I was on Instagram and found that jewelry shop. Taylor ended up looking at the company's website, going to their Instagram, checking out their Facebook, reading the reviews, looking at the pictures, and she ended up finding all these other articles, and now what happened? Well, now the social networks and the networks that she was on when it happened, they've been tracking her this whole time. So what's happening to Taylor? She's getting more stories and more things that are connecting to that content, connecting to that piece. So the online experience planted the seed and created a need, and the offline experience will go and satisfy that, you know, scratch that itch. And so Taylor will get whatever fancy serum Gwyneth Paltrow tells her to use, and she will be, you know, for at least 3 weeks really thrilled with the results. So what does it look like? Is this the new customer journey? Absolutely not. This is one of the new customer journeys. This is the way it could look for certain brands. The customer journey now has to be defined by the data you guys have in-house and in hand about your brand. So when I look at this local searches lead, 76% of mobile users actually visit stores based off a local search. I mean, it makes sense, right? When you're looking for a location, it's because you want to go to there, right? So local searches are leading people to visit the stores. But imagine if you could seed the idea first, and you could track it all the way from the point of Taylor having read an article, and all the way down to the point of her getting to the reviews, being on the review site, and then landing on the Google My Business, on the Facebook page, on the Yelp page, on whatever page it is that she landed on to find the location, get in store, and make that purchase. That's where you're talking about the power of local content. That's where you're talking about the safety net that takes that online experience and scoops them up at the moment of conversion, because that's what we're looking to do. We've got to start being cognizant of the fact that that moment of conversion is the moment that we need to target and focus on. And it is not an online conversion only. I know Google Analytics is amazing. And I know that being able to track the dollars that were generated by everything is fun. But the truth is that that in-brand, in-store experience, if you're doing it right, Warby Parker. You guys know Warby Parker? They're a glasses company. They're brilliant. I have reading glasses. I got a new pair 6 months ago. I will not see my optometrist or the inside of that store for the next 3 years. I mean, unless I crush them or destroy them, as could happen, but I won't go back for 3 years. But Warby Parker is a glasses company that built in a bookstore. So when you go buy your glasses, you can also pick up a book. Now imagine, I'll read more than one book in the next 3 years. Some of you may not, that's okay. No, it's a judgment-free zone. But I'll go back to pick up a book. I'll go back if I feel like the content is tailored, if I feel like the books are actual books that I'm connecting to. So then what happens? If there are reasonably priced glasses in store, maybe I'll get a second pair of reading glasses. Oh, I need one for the office. Oh, these are cute. I mean, this is how it is. You plant the seed. So create the need to be able to answer it later with your brand. This is what we're looking to create. So idea seeding to discovery to finding the localization. So your intent gets localized, going down to decision making, and then into your analytics. And then you're pulling from the data and you're perfecting it and you're perfecting it and you're perfecting it. Because the truth of it is you'll never be done fine-tuning it. There aren't broad segments anymore. We don't have 2 personas per brand. Now we have micro-niche personas, micro-niche consumers that we're looking to target. Because Taylor is a fair-skinned, single 30-something-year-old woman. She is not the same person as Sandra, as Sarah, as Julie. These are all different personas with different needs and different content that'll connect to them. And so creating these stories for each one of these people is actually where you'll be able to leverage the data to make your creative connect down to your conversion. Because that's where we want to be, right? It's not just that creative has to be at the cost of the data. It's that creative has to be generating a conversion. Because you can be as creative as you want, but if you're not getting to the point of conversion, you spend a lot of money to tell a fun story. So collect the data that allows you to tailor the experience to your audience. Find the data. Is it demographics? Is it behavior? Is it medium? Is it the story? Is it the content? What is it that they want? Where are they? How do they want you to talk to them? And what do they want in store? Because this is something experiential marketing can help with. This is something that you can connect with in terms of creating those in-store branded experiences. And that's the fun part, right? Those stunts are the fun part, like creating a Nike pop-up shop with an LED sneaker box. That's awesome. Way more fun than checking out an Excel spreadsheet with all of the data that comes out of the experiment, right? And that's the fun part. I worked in agencies for 5 years before I went and I started doing training and I started doing sales support and sales enablement, and now I'm director of marketing. But I was in an agency for 5 years and I loved that stuff. I loved it. I left because I was the media manager for all of the search campaigns for my clients, and after 3 years, I just couldn't graph anymore, guys. I couldn't pivot table. I couldn't do any of it. It was much. It got heavy. And I love doing this. I love standing in front of a group and connecting and talking, and so I found something that worked for me. Anyway, small slice of life. I'll get back to the point. But the data is what's going to help you figure out how to connect with your audience. And this generation, you want to talk about future-proofing your brand? That generation, our beloved and beleaguered millennials in Generation Z, they're willing to share the data. They're like, yeah, you can have whatever you want. I mean, my parents still think that if somebody says, hey, can I have some of your data? And they don't realize it's like your email and your phone number. They think it's your social insurance number and your credit card, right? So there are some generations that are still terrified of sharing data. Some generations that don't understand how powerful it can be. This generation, the generation that's coming up, the generation we're targeting, they're fine with it. They're like, yeah, I know it's safe. I'll give you whatever I have to give you. But as long as you give me a personalized, customized, and really, really tailored experience for me, make it worth my while. If I tell you that I'm into ABC, do not send me an email about DEF. Do not communicate with me about how important your sale is on E. Only talk to me about ABC. Tailor it to what I've told you that I want. And then maybe I'll let you tell me about the other stuff eventually. You can get it very, very right, and you can get it very, very wrong, and data is where you're going to be leaning heavily to first start and take those baby steps towards building the content that connects with your customer. So we need digital open signs for our business, right? We need to let people know we're there, we're alive, we're doing this, we're a tangible, real business that you should be driven to. But we need to be relying on that data, because the reality is you could have 100,000 locations across the world, across North America. It doesn't matter. Every single one of those locations need to be targeted like individual businesses. Because now we can go at the statewide level, you can go at the citywide level, you can even target neighborhoods. But the truth is that every single location is somebody's local store. The Starbucks across the street from my office is my Starbucks. The Starbucks across the street from my office is where they know my name. It's where they know I like almond milk and I do not like coconut milk. That's my Starbucks. They're happy to see me. If I go to the Starbucks down the street from the hotel, that's not my Starbucks, that's this Starbucks. That's okay. There's allowed to be other people's Starbuckses, but I've got my own. And I've got my own local grocery store where I know the fruits and vegetable guy, and he always smiles and flirts with me, and frankly, it makes me feel magical. But I'm loyal to these businesses that treat me like I'm at a local business. I love that experience, and that's what we need to be creating. We need to be tailoring our experiences so that people actually feel like they're having a local experience in whatever location they're in. And so movement, the right movement data is what's going to help us get in there and connect at that level with our clients. And that's what's going to create the experiences that we're looking for and the results that we're looking for. And so if 2017 was the year of the great reckoning of retail, the future is here. It's now. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Thank you.
Great job, Liz. Coming in a pinch, too. You're not Mo. Great, awesome job. Let's go to questions. Anyone have any questions, comments, thoughts, promises, hopes, dreams?
Praise,
there we go.
Adulation, any of those.
Adulation, good word.
Just curious, how do you see the impact of voice playing in retail when people can absolutely, Alexa, do this, Siri do that, and obviously the Google Home, because it has a lot to do with how retailers are thinking about impacting it, particularly with Alexa and Amazon.
Absolutely.
So how do you see voice playing?
So that's a great question. We've been doing a lot of brainstorming and talking and looking at the data around voice and trying to predict where it's going to land, like I assume everybody is doing. I think the experience with Alexa and Google Home will peak, and then it'll just level out at a certain point. It's like Amazon Prime is kind of how I see it, right? People want instant gratification. Amazon Prime comes from that, right? Customers today want it and want it now. And so if it's something I know, I'm going to just, okay, Google, let's buy more Tide toilet paper, buy me another pair of jeans, because I know my brand and I know my type and I know my size. But there will always be experiences where you want to be outside of the digital space, whether it's voice or whether it's on your fingertips. And I think voice is going to play an interesting part more so in search and how search budgets get split. And I think we saw the segmentation of algorithms between desktop to mobile. We'll see them get segmented out for voice as well. And I think voice is going to have a bigger impact there. And on local search, actually, it's going to have a huge impact, because it's going to be, okay, Google, how long will it take me to get to X store? How long will it take me to get to that restaurant? At the local level, if your data is not clean and Google can't find you, people aren't going to pick up their phones and look for you. They'll go, okay, Google, find me another Old Navy. Okay, Google, find me another restaurant. Find me another pharmacy. And they'll just go on to the next one. And so I think at the location level, if your data is not clean, you're going to be impacted much more heavily than I think people are actually predicting right now.
All right, question number 2. Does everybody have an Amazon Alexa? Who does have an Amazon Alexa? I suggest you get one, play around with it in your office. All the skills, and you made great points, and just like how that's the intermediary for decision making in offices and homes. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Cheese. All right, well, we're going to thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.